Hello, hackers, and welcome to the Summer 2025 CSE 365 course. Let's jump into what the heck is going on in this class. Okay, let me switch over in OBS, jump over here, go to the main page. All right, pwn.college. This class will be taking place on pwn.college, right? The website pwn.college is where a lot of this class will be taking place. In fact, most of it. If you're used to Canvas being kind of the location where a lot of your class takes place, it's not this class. This class will be on pwn.college. You should basically expect from here on out to not really see anything on Canvas. We will be doing everything on pwn.college. Okay, so with that in mind, you're going to want to create an account, and the way you will do that is you'll come to the website and you will hit register. You'll create a cool hacker handle for yourself. You'll specify your email. Don't need to use your ASU email. It can be any email, and a password, and that will be your account. Now, once you have an account, you're logged in, you will see a whole bunch of stuff, a bunch of boxes, getting started, Linux Luminarium, some belts. You actually have the opportunity to earn your orange belt in this class, but we'll deal with that later on as we progress. So where you'll be going is over to the CSE 365 2025 summer. Okay, this box, this dojo, is where the majority of your work will be taking place, or at least kind of the starting point where it will be taking place. Okay, quick little announcements before I continue. This course requires participation, and the way we really do participation, for the most part, we'll see if it changes throughout the semester, but for the most part, is watching lecture videos. We want to make sure everyone watches our lecture videos. This is a lecture video. I guess it's not so much on content, it's more on logistics of the course. We want to make sure everyone's watching these videos. And the way that we do that, real quick, jumping ahead before I continue on with the structure, is in this lectures thing. So module 1 lectures. Now, right now, you will not see something called, syllabus or intro or something like that. That video is missing because I'm recording it right now. What you want to do is you want to, after you create your account and, we got through what I've shown you so far, you'll want to actually stop watching this video and switch over to watching it on pwn.college so that you get credit for watching this, because we want to make sure everyone understands how this course works. So this is one of the required videos. Switch over. Okay. The way that it works, just so we're all on the same page, is you'll hit start. Okay, this will do some loading thing. It'll say challenge successfully started. And then it's kind of a new interface, but for the lecture videos, we have this link right here that says here in blue. You will click on that, and you will see that now I've got a lecture video playing. Oh boy. We've got a lecture video playing with a little gray bar at the bottom. And it says yellow right now. It's playing. Okay, you'll see now we've got this green. You'll see that if I jump ahead, there's red. Red is bad. That means you skipped. You got to watch the whole video. If I click on the red, it'll go back to where I missed. And eventually, you'll play through all the way to the end of this video, at which point it'll pop up a flag, and you'll just put that in here and hit submit. So before we continue with this video, go do that so that you're earning progress and credit for watching this video. Okay, go do that. And unfortunately, I have to rewatch this part, but it's just the way it's going to be for bootstrapping this. Okay, now let's get into the logistics of this course. So as I said, this is the front page of the course, and we've got a whole bunch of different links. We're going to have a whole bunch of assignments. This class has a lot of work, okay? And it's probably especially a lot of work because it's a summer session right now, which means we're going to be moving twice as fast. So there's a lot for you to do. In fact, the first assignment is already released. When I put out that announcement yesterday, that was the launch of this assignment. Okay, you have stuff already due on Friday, with stuff to follow on Sunday and then Tuesday, and another thing that launches on Thursday, right? There's gonna be lots of stuff launching. Okay, you want to move quick through this course. There's a lot to cover. Okay, before I continue on to the syllabus, I'm going to show you this student setup. Now, you want to do this as soon as possible, okay? After you're done watching this video, do this, okay? Do this student setup thing. You need to follow these 5 steps, okay? If you're at this point in the video, probably you've already created a pwn.college account, okay? So you should have a green check mark for that. You'll also want to create a Discord account. Most of the communication and help and anything, a lot of the interactive stuff for this course takes place on Discord. You're going to need a Discord account. If you don't want to link in some way your Discord account that you use all the time, you'd rather have like a course specific one, go create a course specific one or use your personal one. Don't really care, but you need a Discord account. Then you will join the pwn.college Discord server. You will link your pwn.college account with the Discord server. This will give you an official course role and allow you to see all following announcements. As I said, we will not be using Canvas in this class. All future announcements will take place in the Discord. You must complete this step to get those announcements. So do this soon. And then finally, you'll link your pwn.college account with your ASU student ID, which takes place in this identity tab. ASU student ID, it's that 10-digit number. Pretty sure everyone starts with a 1. I would assume it's that 10-digit number. You link that, and that is how we know who you are as an ASU student. Okay, so that is the setup of this course. Now let's get into the syllabus of this course. Okay, we are in the summer 2025 semester of CSE 365, Introduction to Cybersecurity. I am Connor, I'm your instructor for this course this semester, and then we also have a couple of UGTAs who will be helping out on the Discord with all sorts of questions. Okay, quick announcement. Do not email me directly, okay? You'll see the course communication section will tell you how to contact us. In general, you should be contacting us through the Discord, but if you have something that doesn't make sense to be publicly communicating, which hopefully most of your requests are for the benefit of everyone, it'll be public. If you have something more private though, that's fine. Email the course email, which is mentioned in the course communication section. It's CSE365@pwn.college. Again, do not email me directly, or I might miss your email, likely will miss your email, might even skip your email. I really just focus on those CSE365 emails, going straight to that mailing list. Okay, now in this course, we're going to be covering cybersecurity. Hopefully that is abundantly clear when you signed up for this course. We're going to be covering a whole bunch of topics, all the way from the CPU to the kernel, user space, networking, cryptography, all the way up to the browser, HTTP server, web application. We're going to be learning a lot. We're going to be covering a lot of ground. And the way that this course works is it is a learn by doing sort of course. It's probably going to look a little bit different than most of the courses you've taken at ASU, of course. Probably most courses at ASU, have you doing something. The doing something is really almost all of this course. Almost all of your learning will occur through the assignments. The assignments are the vast majority of the grade. And you will be kind of hacking stuff, engaging with the assignment, figuring out how stuff works. It's a little bit of a painful process sometimes. We try to make it as painless as we can, but learning this stuff is really, it takes some time, takes some practice, takes some effort. Yeah, just put in the effort, it'll go well. I would encourage you to read this entire syllabus. I kind of put a lot of text here, but I think it'll really prepare you. I'm not going to necessarily read all of it because it's written for a reason, for you to read it. Okay. As I said, course communication, primarily the Discord server, but we also have this course email for any sorts of logistics, private things, any of those logistics things, except for extensions. Do not email us with extensions requests. We do have a very generous extension request policy, but there's a whole procedure for that lives outside of email. We'll get there. Okay. Course grading. Course is graded on a 100-point scale. There's 100 points to earn is kind of maybe one way of thinking about it. You get all 100 of them, you have an A+. In total, there's 10 modules. Each is worth 10 points, right? So 10 modules, each worth 10 points, up to 100 points total. So every module is equally weighted. Okay, each module will have 1 participation point. If you're watching this video right now, you're in the progress of earning your first participation point. You can get 3 checkpoint points. I guess that's kind of a funny point thing. 5 challenge points and 1 reflection point, total of 10 points. So that's how the weighting works for this. Every module is equally weighted. Everything will always be due at 11:59 p.m. UTC -7 Arizona time, end of day, so just right before midnight, right at the end of the day, Arizona time. So that is when all deadlines will be, with one tiny exception, which is the very end of the semester. We'll get there in a second, but generally it's 11:59 p.m. UTC -7 Arizona time. Okay. As I said, challenges are worth 5 points per module, so it's going to be 50% of your grade. And this is from solving challenges. So each module will have a set of challenges you must solve. All of those challenges are equally weighted. So for example, if some module has, let's say, 10 challenges, you solve 7 of the 10, you get 70% of the available challenge points. Late credit is available at a reduced rate, so you get 80% per late solve. So there's a deadline for these challenges. Do them before then, but if you solve late, we have a pretty generous late policy here. You get 80% per late solve, or in other words, 20% penalty. So you can make up your grade here. However, as I said, this is a very intense course. There's a lot to do, and even more work because it's such a condensed semester, only 8 weeks. There is always an active module. There's always something to be working on. There's no downtime. So don't plan on having time to work on challenges late. That's really the biggest limiter of your ability to make up that late credit. There's probably not going to be time to be doing that. But the opportunity is there. So just don't rely on this. Keep steady progress. Keep up with the deadlines. Okay. The next component of your grade is checkpoints. This is the second largest portion, 50%, 30%. Now we're already at 80% of your grade. Guess what? This is also just solving challenges with some adjustments here. So the way that the checkpoint works is that you need to solve half of the challenges. And if you solve half of the challenges by a slightly earlier deadline, you will receive full checkpoint credit. So the first half of the challenges that you complete are worth a lot more, right? You get this whole extra 30% component of your grade. That is rounded down in your favor. So if there's like 11 challenges, the checkpoint requires you then to solve 5 of the challenges. Now, it is an earlier deadline compared to the normal challenges deadlines. The whole idea is you're making steady progress throughout the semester. And you're rewarded very nicely by getting these earlier, often easier challenges, right? The first half you solve are probably easier than the second half that you end up solving. And you can solve challenges in any order, so probably you're going to solve the easier ones first. In general, they're laid out from easier to harder. But I guess as a quick aside, you can jump around in the challenges. If you're feeling stuck on a challenge, it might actually make sense to skip it and come back to it later. And sometimes the way we weave concepts, you might be introduced to a new, totally different concept. It's not built on the previous one. Often it's built on the previous one, but sometimes new concept, feel free to skip ahead, try that, come back later. But anyways, getting sidetracked there. Late credit is given for checkpoints, but it's a worse penalty than the challenges part of your grade. The checkpoint part of your grade is 50% per late solve. So 50% penalty. So you really want to be hitting these checkpoints because it's much harder to make up these points. Now, you can technically solve additional challenges beyond the checkpoint. So the checkpoint requires you to solve half of the module. If you solve late challenges, you do get this 50% penalty, and you can technically work your way back up to 100%, technically, for the checkpoint portion of your grade. Now, this is going to be more difficult. Don't rely on this. Again, you're not going to have time to go back and work on stuff. You're always going to have something new to work on. Don't think of yourself as the one that's going to succeed from this. This is just to give you that extra chance, as you're getting closer to the end of the semester, you're like, oh boy, I'm not feeling good about my grade. I'm going to work twice as hard. We're going to give you the opportunity to work twice as hard to earn some of your grade back. But you're already going to be working pretty hard. So working twice as hard is going to be, very difficult. But for example, if you think about it, if we require you to do 50% of the challenges in order to get all of the checkpoint, and it's a 50% penalty. For example, if you solve 0 of the challenges on time for the checkpoint deadline, and then you go and solve all of them, well, now what you've done is you were required to solve 50% of them, and you're getting a 50% penalty. You actually just brought yourself up to 100%. Now, Again, I'm just going to keep stressing this. This class is a lot of work. Do not rely on this. This is just like that second chance opportunity to redeem yourself as you get nearer the end of the semester if you want to make up some points. But again, just please follow the deadlines. Don't make me regret this policy. This is a new policy. We're changing it from previous semesters to really give those people that really want to work twice as hard to redeem themselves in their grade. But really, this is it's going to snowball if you rely on this into a not good way. Okay, participation. You're currently doing participation by watching this video. Your participation grade is based on watching these videos. Watch them all, you get 100% of your participation. Partial credit is available. These participation videos, they do have a deadline. In fact, it's the same deadline as the checkpoint deadline. I think that will be consistent throughout the whole semester. Possibly there will be adjustments, but in general, it'll line up with the checkpoint. At least that's the current plan. Shouldn't change, but who knows? You never know. We'll always make sure you know, though. Late credit is available for participation, but again, it's at that reduced rate of 50%. So these are like free points. Watch these videos, and you will get your 50%. Or you get full credit for the participation, 10% of your grade, a whole letter grade. Okay, reflections. These are going to be at the end of the module. It's going to be a set of questions you must answer. You're going to do a bit of a write-up on, your approach, your takeaways from the challenges. This should also be relatively easy credit, right? We're not requiring you to solve any new challenges to earn this. You're really just reflecting on the module at the end. And partial credit is not available because this is like a Google survey, or at least it is right now. We'll see if it changes eventually. But for now, the plan is that it'll be a Google survey. You complete it. There's no partial way to complete it. You complete the whole thing. And you get your 10%, right? So this is like kind of 20% of like real free credit. And then this 30% here is very approachable. So that's 50% of your grade. And even better, if you solve half the challenges, that means you got, half of the challenges grade also, which means, how does this math work out? 20 plus 30 plus another 25, that'd be like 75%. You'd have a C just doing half the challenges, collecting your easy participation, doing some thoughtful reflections, but should be relatively easy. And you're passing. And then you solve more challenges and get an even better grade. Okay, policy. Early progress. A lot of people have already either used pwn.college for an earlier class, or, I think people have heard about this platform. They've maybe solved some of the challenges already. Or maybe you're retaking this course. Whatever it is, we accept all early progress. If we assign a challenge and you've already completed it, you've already completed it. You don't have to resolve it. I might encourage you to go and resolve it if maybe you want to refresh your memory so that you can solve a later challenge. Again, these challenges often build on themselves, so you might want to resolve it to refresh your mind, but you're not required to. If you already solved a challenge, you've already solved a challenge. Now, you can't rely on this policy in future semesters. So if you're someone from a future semester watching this, or you're thinking about enrolling in a future semester or something, we can't guarantee this policy will always be. We can always only guarantee for our current semester. You never know what future semesters will hold. But this policy has remained pretty steady over time. But again, unfortunately, we can't make guarantees about future semesters. Only a semester, and this is the policy of this semester. Extension requests. Okay, we always have a lot of people that have extension requests for various reasons. You get a bunch of people together and stuff happens in their life, whether it's personal, family, professional, official ASU stuff, disabilities, whatever the case might be. We understand, that you might need an extension. My warning to you is there is always an active assignment, right? Sometimes even overlapping. In the beginning, we're gonna have a lot of overlapping assignments. There's always something to be doing. So when you're extending, you're kind of just extending into the time allocated for the next assignment. And now you're working twice as hard there. It's really not so easy for us to give you extensions, but we do give you the opportunity if you think that you're one of these people that has a reason that you're gonna work twice as hard the following week or something like that and catch up. We do have a very generous extension policy. You can request up to 7 days per assignment. So per assignment up to 7 days for any of these reasons: personal health, family health obligations, professional obligations, official ASU team, club, course activity, or sales, which is the, I believe, the accessibility center at Arizona State University. So up to 7 days for each individual module up to. Again, be very careful about using that. You might snowball yourself into a disastrous situation. If you do 7, then now you're working twice as hard on the next assignment because you got to do the thing you extended and the current one. It'll be rough, but that is your opportunity. In addition, every student may request and use up to a total of 7, so not 7 per module for this, up to a total of 7 days of no questions asked extensions. Whatever your reason, if you went out partying over the weekend and you just really didn't have time to work on this assignment, would encourage you to be very thoughtful and careful with your deadlines. But you know what? We give you 7 days, no questions asked, extensions throughout the entire semester. And you can use them in 1-day increments. So you can't use like 1 hour of your 7 days. Every time you use an extension, it's rounded to the nearest day. And so you can use up to 7 of these things. Once you've used them all, there's no more. Okay, you only get 7 of these things. You cannot try to trade in past days if you're like, oh, I took 3 no questions asked days, but I only really wanted 1 of them. I didn't mean to do 3. Sorry, you requested it. You're responsible for it. This is our best offer. We got to keep things nice and simple and reasonable for everyone involved. This is highly generous. I think maybe I don't know, I've never heard of another course having such a simple, generous policy related to extensions. This is our best offer. So please take advantage of it if it's useful for you. But again, be very careful with these extensions. It's very dangerous. We've seen a lot of students start to snowball into a failing grade as a result of using extensions. It's a dangerous game. It's always an active assignment. Be very careful with it. You must request the extension within 72 hours after the last deadline for the module. Okay, so don't come asking at the end of the semester saying I want extension on day or on module 1. It's too late. You got 72 hours after the last deadline for the module. And the extension applies to all of the components of a module. So a module will have 4 components, right, as we've discussed, and they'll be on different deadlines. The reflection should always be the last deadline of them. So 72 hours past the reflections deadline. After that, you can no longer request an extension for any reason. You got to tell us, during the assignment that you want an extension, not after the fact. Okay. Additionally, your request will be automatically provisionally granted. You should see this reflected within 24 hours, probably more like 6 hours, but let's say 24 hours. You'll just automatically get your extension, assuming that you're eligible, right? If it's your 8th day of no questions asked, you're not going to get the 8th day. It won't be automatically granted because you've already used them. We will manually go through and review your requests. So if we determine your request to be unreasonable, we will remove your extension. But again, you've got all these like no questions asked, so those are pretty generous. And there's no way to be unreasonable with a no questions asked day, assuming you still have it. So please, though, don't be unreasonable with your requests as far as the other types of categories are concerned. Do not abuse the semi-automated system, right? We're trying to keep this simple for you, simple for us, nice and generous policy, but don't abuse it or you will lose your extensions. Now, I'm going to jump back to this front page real quick to show you how you can do the extension request. Click on this link right here. It'll take you to a Google survey. This is how you request it. Okay, you specify your module, you specify your reason, right? No questions asked is one of them. You give us a reason if it's something other than no questions asked. Give us a little clarity what's going on. Request up to 7 days. And we're also going to make sure that you tell us that you accept responsibility to keep up with the court. Do not fall behind. But that is how you make an extension. Oops. Okay, and then also if you decide, you requested 1 day, but you're like, oh boy, I really need 2, and you're still within the 72-hour window here, go ahead and specify 2 instead. It'll update. It's not additive. It just uses whatever the latest thing is. So if you're within the 72-hour window and you're like, oh, I think I need a day, or you think you need a day, but then you realize, oh, actually I finished it, I didn't need a day. You can go ahead. Actually, there's not a way to specify zero, is there? Maybe I'll add a way to specify zero. Don't do that for now. I might not, but maybe I'll try and add it so you can do zero to override that back out. But if you request three, for example, and you end up, you're like, you know what, I only need two, and you're still within the 72-hour window, change your three to two. That's fine. I'll use the latest one. Okay, extra credit. Not a whole lot of extra credit. We do have a bug bounty program. If you find a serious security issue, you may be eligible for extra credit, anywhere on the order of 1 to 5%, or even 10 to 20%, depending on how serious this is. Typos and grammar errors are not serious security issues. We're talking about like full infrastructure solution bypasses where your solution is just completely sidestepping all of the concepts covered, or you're able to leak, user data or enter other user environments. Everyone's in their own sandbox environment. Probably you'll have a pretty good idea if you realize that it's serious. Typos, grammatical errors, not serious. Also, a lot of challenges might have multiple creative paths towards solving it. If you're exploring security, even in like a tangential way to the concept involved, there's a decent chance that we've thought about it. Like there's just some challenges where it's kind of hard to make it so there's only one way to solve a challenge, and we might be fine with there being multiple ways to solve a challenge. So really consider whether or not it's a serious security issue that seems to be sidestepping stuff, like more seriously sidestepping stuff. Okay, do not abuse these. That would be an academic integrity violation. Instead, earn yourself some extra credit, help us improve the platform, learn something new. And you know what? If you can find a really interesting bug and you want a job working on us with pwn.college, you might even get yourself a job. How cool would that be? All right, letter grades. Pretty standard breakdown for that. Okay, this course will end at noon UTC -7, the day that final grades are due to ASU. See academic calendar. Let's actually take a quick look at that, make sure we're all on the same page. Summer 2025, final grades due July 13th. I believe this is a Sunday. So final grades are due this Sunday, July 13th. I believe it's a Sunday, but whatever the heck July 13th is, at noon. So after that point, you know what? I need to submit grades at a reasonable time. So if you have late work that you're working on, trying to get it finished up, you got to be done by noon on July 13th. Otherwise, you know what? Sorry, I've already submitted your grades. So that is kind of the last possible reasonable moment that we can allow you to earn late credit to. There will not be a curve in this class on a course-wide basis. If necessary, we will curve an individual module basis, and we'll make sure that you know about these curves as soon as we kind of reasonably can. Don't ask us to curve or round up your grade. In fact, doing so is an academic integrity violation. If you've read the academic integrity handbook, asking for grade improvements for, spurious reasons, like I want just an improved grade, it's actually an academic integrity violation. Do not ask us to round up your grade. Go earn your grade. We have very generous policies here, lots of late credit opportunities. It's up to you what your grade's going to be. Go earn your grade. Okay, getting help. I'm not going to read all of this again, but I would encourage you to read it all. This class will be difficult. It may be actually very difficult for some of you, which is totally fine. That's how you learn. If you kind of overcome difficulty, guess what? That's called learning. Inevitably, you're probably going to get stuck and feel truly stuck. If that's the case, go take a break. Just go take a break. Think about it. Come back. You might come back with a fresh mind and kind of consider a different angle, and that'll be great. If you're still stuck, though, we encourage you to ask for help. Here's kind of some guidance around asking for help. We want you to ask thoughtful questions is basically the short answer here. Ask a thoughtful question. Make it look like you've actually thought about this problem, right? If you're just like, how to solve 4, well, no one wants to help that. Give us some thoughtful questions, and then you'll get thoughtful responses. Unfortunately, or maybe obviously, you may not discuss full or significant portions of a challenge's solution during the help process. So if you're helping someone else, and we do encourage student collaboration within our Discord, you'll see the Discord here in a second. You should discuss the challenges, but don't discuss full or significant portions of the challenge. That is an academic integrity violation. If you kind of get onto the edge a little bit there and getting a little close in the Discord. Again, you can only help people in the Discord. You get a little too close to that edge, we'll warn you. Don't be so nervous that you don't want to help anyone because you're worried about an academic integrity violation. We'll let you know. Hopefully, it's kind of somewhat obvious. It's kind of hard to define that line crystal clearly. But we will warn you if you're getting too generous with your solution that you're providing to people. Just the goal is that other people are learning. Learning is the key insight here. Okay, so you can always ask for help on the pwn.college Discord, and this is how you will ask for help. Anyone can help you, whether they are a member of the course staff, fellow student, or even a member of the public pwn.college community. Might get a quick response, might take a while, or unfortunately, you might get no response at all. If you're asking bad questions, you're probably less likely to get a response. Ask good questions and people will want to help you. That is what I have observed. We will also throughout the week host a number of office hours on Discord that will be more synchronous, right? And it'll be in a bit of a one-on-one format where the teaching assistants will be available during this time to just like immediately answer your question. Now, this isn't like your opportunity to just like ask the TAs for solutions. This is like, I've been really stuck on this and, the Discord isn't answering my questions. I would love, this kind of dedicated time to chat with someone. That will be going on the Discord as well throughout the week. And we will post announcements on when this is occurring. From time to time, we may also hold live office hours on Twitch instead of a one-on-one or one to just a few. Instead, it would be in a one-to-many format. So this will probably look pretty different depending on when we're running it, why we're running it. You might see us live problem solving, Q&A, general discussion, lots of demos, hopefully, and kind of giving you insights into how an expert might approach some of the concepts and technology that we're looking at. This will also be a synchronous format. Obviously, this is an online course with no synchronous requirements. So no worries if you miss it. There will be a video after the fact. You can always watch it. In fact, I would encourage everyone to, when we have these Twitch office hours, to kind of at least scroll through it, like jump timestamp to timestamp kind of quickly through it. These won't be required to watch, but I would encourage you to look through it. There might be some very interesting discussions that you find valuable for solving challenges or learning more. And so if you jump through it, you'll see what might be worth watching the whole segment of. Hey, Sensei and other generative AI. This course allows you to use generative AI. That is kind of the very, very brief understanding of this. Now, there are some caveats to this, okay? So we think generative AI is going to ultimately be good for learning, but it is really easy to shoot yourself in the foot, right? If the LLM is doing all of the work, you aren't learning anything, or you might even trick yourself into thinking you're learning things, then you're not learning things, okay? It's not that you're supposed to just cheat off an LLM, and, don't fall into this trap. And ultimately, this, if I'm being completely honest, a lot of this stuff is hard to detect. We have ways of detecting, over-reliance on LLMs. You're allowed to use it. We have ways to detect it. But it's tricky to detect. Really, though, the thing that you would be hurting is hurting yourself. Like, if you don't learn anything in this course or learn anything in your whole computer science degree, why is anyone going to want to hire you? That is just, they just won't hire you. You'll be, I'm sure your life may still be fulfilling, but career-wise, you'll be useless, right? So don't waste this opportunity to learn. LLM should be an assistant, and it can be a very powerful assistant to help explain things to you or clarify syntactic problems or even help you think through your debugging process. In fact, we believe so strongly in this that we provide to you a GPT-based OpenAI based LLM for you to use in this course. If you click on this help button, it's called Sensei, and it has a lot of information about the challenge. You can see your terminal, the files you're working on. We kind of fancied it up a bit. And we would encourage you to use it, but don't over rely on it. Don't cheat on it. You know if you're cheating on it. Don't do that. You're just going to make yourself very sad later on in your career when you don't get a job or don't get a fulfilling job. You want to learn. Take this opportunity to learn. Okay, additionally, little bonus caveat here. If you somehow end up with a solution identical to another person, I am highly skeptical that an LLM would do that, but it's not impossible, I guess. Either way, though, this is an academic integrity violation. I really don't care how you end up with the same solution as someone else. If you end up with an identical solution to someone else, or effectively identical, saying, but the generative AI is allowed, is not going to be your get out of jail free card, okay? We're just going to say you have an identical solution. Now, if you use Sensei, we can investigate your claims, right? So we have the logs of all the Sensei interactions we can go through. We use Sensei kind of to research LLMs and also to kind of clear you of this possible case scenario where somehow the LLM does generate identical solutions for people. Hopefully not generating solutions at all, but if it generates a solution for you and it generates an identical solution for you, it will not be your get out of jail free card. We will go after you with an academic integrity violation. Get two identical solutions, no good. Sensei may allow us to investigate your claims, but just keep that in mind. Don't cheat, okay? Just don't cheat. It's good. Don't cheat. As discussed above, what do we say here? Oh, yep, you may collaborate with your peers. However, you may only collaborate in the official pwn.college Discord. Do not collaborate on other Discords, in person, direct messages, anywhere else. That is an academic integrity violation. We need to be able to see the collaboration to make sure that it's not getting, out of the educational realm and into the just straight up cheating realm. So it needs to take place in the official pwn.college Discord. Honors contracts are available. Read this. No textbook. No, what do we say? Zero tolerance for cheating, right? That's kind of TLDR there. Don't use other people's solutions. You must solve these individually. You may not solve challenges as a group. That's just not how this works. You may not go looking for solutions online and just copying those. We're going to find you. Don't do that. It'd be very silly. Not only are you just harming your own education and therefore your future career and fulfillment in being a computer scientist, we will also go after you with an academic integrity violation, and you will get the consequences of that, which are not good. Okay, additional information, feel free to read. Okay, so that is the syllabus. Highly encourage you to read the whole thing. So at least skim it so you know what's going on in there. But read the whole thing. Do the student setup. That will be good. Got to do the student setup. That way we can give you your grade. What else? Announcements. As I said, it's in the Discord. Once you follow the steps, you will gain access to these ASU CSE 365 2025 summer channels. So announcements. I mirrored the first announcement here. I'll mirror this second announcement that probably you have read by now if you're reading this. After that, there's really not going to be announcements on Canvas. The announcements will take place here. You need to follow the setup steps to have access to this channel. Otherwise, you will miss out on announcements. And those announcements might be very important. Send me an email after the fact saying I forgot to do those setup steps and it was really devastating for my grade. Sorry, that's kind of too bad. Okay, this is the 10 modules. This is our current schedule, right? So the first assignment is released as of yesterday. Participation is due on Friday, checkpoint due Friday, challenges due Sunday, reflection due Tuesday, right? So very fast paced. In fact, so fast paced that during these first 4 modules, they're a little bit easier than the rest. It's going to be overlapping. And I say easy, but they still take time. Do not just start now, okay? There will be overlap. So you'll see that the challenges are due on Sunday, but the second module actually already starts on Thursday. Okay, so this class moves really fast. Kind of tricky to put this class into 8 weeks. It's already very time draining. It takes a lot of time to learn this stuff. In a 15-week course, 8 weeks, this took some thinking on how to structure this to get through the same material. You're going to be spending, I don't know, the syllabus says it somewhere in here, based on accreditation requirements and so forth, you should be expect to be spending, about 17 hours per week minimum in this course. For some of you, and maybe even many of you, it'll be more than this, okay? Now, if you're willing to put in the work, it's going to be great. You're going to learn a lot. Uh, Hopefully, you'll realize this at the end. You may not realize this in the moment. It'll be, a little frustrating. You're going to hit brick walls. You're going to be like, I feel so unprepared to do this. That is the learning. You're learning when you're overcoming these challenges, okay? Now, this is my first time running this as a summer course. There's a lot of material to get into these 8 weeks. And so I would encourage you, if you think that you don't have this type of time to dedicate, to maybe consider enrolling in the fall. Up to you. You can get a head start on the fall, assuming the fall has the same early progress policy. Can't guarantee that right now. I guess I am an instructor on it, so it almost certainly will. But I will not guarantee that yet. So maybe consider, just if this seems like way too much time to dedicate, start this summer, but enroll in the fall, and you'll have a good head start in the fall. Up to you. Enjoy the course. I'll be making kind of module videos like this. Definitely the future ones will be shorter, introducing all of the modules as we go. Make sure you watch your videos. You'll know your grade at all times. So if I go to grades and deadlines right here, know my grades at all times. Guess what? You already have an A+ right now because the way we decide to do the division by zero problem, where nothing is due yet. You'll see that everything currently has a weight of 0. It's a weight of 0 because the deadline has not yet passed. Once the deadline passes, the weight will go up to its correct weight. And it'll factor into this thing right here. Near the end of the semester, we'll change it so that the weight is just always visible. So that, as you're at the end of the semester, you can confirm your final grade and it'll only go up. But right now, it'll fluctuate as deadlines come in. You can always track that here. In addition, your extensions will be visible here. Again, allow up to 24 hours. It'll probably be closer to 6 hours. Don't email me immediately after you submit an extension. The whole point of our extension system is for you to not email me about your extensions and have a nice, simple, smooth process. If you don't get your extension showing up within 24 hours, then feel free, I guess, to email me. Probably you did something wrong, but that's okay. Feel free to email me after 24 hours. Do not email me before 24 hours. Within 24 hours, maybe about 6 hours, your extension will show up right here. Extension will not show up right here. This is just kind of static, but it will show up in the grades and deadlines, and your grades will be a good, accurate reflection. Again, the weight is 0. That means it's not being factored into your current overall grade because the deadline is not passed. Keep that in mind. Your grade may suddenly drop when a deadline passes. That is how that will work. Okay, any more questions? Please ask in the Discord. For very private matters, I guess, that it can't be shared in the Discord, email the course email. But otherwise, ask in the Discord so that everyone may benefit from your answer. And I'll continue posting announcements in the Discord. So I will see you in the Discord. Goodbye.